UPSC PYQ Navigator, where we decode the UPSC pattern one question at a time. Today we are going to discuss the 2023 Prelims polity questions. So let us begin. We've already covered the 2024 polity questions. You can go back and have a look at those videos too. So the first question for today is, in India, which one of the following constitutional amendments was widely believed to be enacted to overcome the judicial interpretations of the fundamental rights? You can pause the video and try to answer. So the correct answer for this is option A, First Amendment. So let us try to understand. In 1950, India had just become a republic. Our constitution had given us two powerful instruments. So one is fundamental rights and the second is directive principles of state policy. So the fundamental rights are the rights of individuals and they are enforceable in court. And DPSPs are moral guidelines for the state, not enforceable but essential for welfare state. Now imagine this, the fundamental rights were like swords, sharp and strong, while the directive principles were like compasses, guiding but without force. So what was the conflict? The conflict began in 1951 in the case called the Champakam Dorairajan case. The state of Madras had introduced caste-based reservations. In educational institutes. So this was meant to fulfill the DPSPs of promoting social justice. But a citizen named Champakam Dorairajan challenged it, saying it violated her fundamental right to equality under Article 15. So the case went to the Supreme Court and what happened changed the constitutional history. So the Supreme Court ruled that the fundamental rights were superior than the DPSPs. So if there's a conflict, the DPSPs must bow down to the fundamental rights. However, it also stated that the Parliament can amend fundamental rights through a constitutional amendment. This judgment set up the stage for massive dilemma. How can a welfare state implement its social justice agenda if every move gets struck down as violating fundamental rights? So then came the First Amendment. Of 1951. The parliament led by Jawaharlal Nehru realized it needed to be strengthened to the hands of the state to fulfill its socio-economic duties. So in 1951, just months after the Supreme Court judgment, the first constitutional amendment was introduced. It curtailed the FRs like Article 19, freedom of speech and equality before law. It allowed reasonable restrictions in the interest of public order, friendly relations with the foreign states, etc. And it introduced Article 15(4), which specifically empowered the state to make special provisions for the backward classes. So this was the entire story about the First Amendment Act. Coming back to the question asks, which constitutional amendment was widely believed to be enacted to overcome the judicial interpretations of the fundamental rights? Hence, your answer is First Amendment. Now, as UPSC aspirants, we should know that just focusing on the correct option is not enough. We have to also talk about the wrong options. So for that, I would advise you to take a screenshot of this. This is the 42nd Amendment Act. This is the 44th one. And this is the 86th. And the 42nd Amendment Act, as it is widely known that it is a mini constitution. It did not just focus on the judicial interpretations of the fundamental rights. It had a more wider connotation. The 44th Amendment was actually to revert what was done in the 42nd Amendment. And the 86th, basically, it was focused on the education in terms of fundamental rights and also in terms of the fundamental duties. So here is your answer. Let us go to the next question. Consider the following organizations, bodies in India. The NCBC, National Commission for Backward Classes, the National Human Rights Commission, the National Law Commission, the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. So how many of the above are constitutional bodies? Pause the video and try to answer. So let us look option by option. The first one is NCBC. NCBC is constitutional in nature. So the NCBC was initially constituted by the central government through the National Commission for Backward Classes Act 1993, which was repealed through the National Commission for Backward Classes Repeal Act in 2018. At present, the commission has been accorded a constitutional status constituted through 102nd Amendment, which inserted the Article 338B, which forms the Commission for Socially and Educationally Backward Classes, to be known as the NCBC. So this is correct. The second body, the National Human Rights Commission. This is a statutory body because it was established under the Protection of Human Rights Act, PHRA, of 1993 and amended by the Protection of Human Rights Amendment Act of 2006. It is in conformity with the Paris Principles for the promotion and protection of human rights. Section 21D of PHRA defines human rights. This is important to know because many a times UPSC asks about what is defined in the act or in the constitution. So it defines the human rights as rights relating to life, liberty, equality and dignity of the individual guaranteed by the constitution or embodied in the international covenants and enforceable by courts in India. So we know that this is incorrect. The third body is Law Commission of India. Now Law Commission of India is not a statutory body, it is not even a constitutional body. Why? Because it is established by an executive resolution, not by an act. So it is under the Ministry of Law and Justice, Department of Legal Affairs, with a definite terms of reference to carry out research in the field of law, and the commissions make recommendations to the government. So its recommendations are advisory in nature and it provides legal recommendations. So this is also incorrect. The fourth one is National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. This is also statutory because it is under the Consumer Protection Act of 1986. It is a quasi-judicial body and it handles consumer cases above 2 crores. So the correct answer for this is only 1. Let us move on to the next question. Consider the following statements. If the election of the President of India is declared void by the Supreme Court of India, all acts done by him/her in the performance of duties of his/her office of President before the date of decision become invalid. Second, election for the post of the President of India can be postponed on the ground that some legislative assemblies have been dissolved and elections are yet to take place. When a bill is presented to the President of India, the Constitution prescribes time limits within which he or she has to declare his or her assent. How many of the above statements are correct? Pause the video and try to answer. Before we dive deep into the question, I want you guys to take a screenshot of this particular thing because it deals with the articles 52 to 62, which is mainly dealing with the President of India. You have to know them because we see that UPSC has a has a tendency to ask about articles, and president is one of the major part of the questions. So make sure that you know about this. Now coming back to the question, the first statement is, if the election of the president is declared void, everything that was given the assent in his term becomes invalid. So this statement is incorrect according to Article 71(2) of the Constitution. Here it says that if the election of a person as president or vice president is declared void by the Supreme Court, acts done by him and exercise the performance of the powers shall not be invalidated by the reason of that declaration. So this statement is incorrect because everything by the president is done in good faith while he or she was in office. The second statement talks about the time of holding election to fill a vacancy of the president. So here the 62 article and first clause of it says that an election to fill a vacancy caused by the expiration of the term of office of president shall be completed before the expiration of the term. Okay. So the election of the president cannot be delayed due to dissolution of state assemblies. Because as per the Article 62(1) of the Indian Constitution, the president's election must be completed before the expiry of the current term. So even if some assemblies are dissolved, the elected members, the elected MLAs from states and elected MPs from electoral college can go ahead with the election. So elections will proceed as scheduled with available members. So this is also incorrect. The third statement. When a bill is presented to the President of India, the Constitution prescribes time limits. So this is incorrect again because the Constitution does not prescribe any time limit to give assent to a bill. In fact, this is often criticized as pocket veto. So the President can withhold assent indefinitely in some cases. So the correct answer of this is none. Make sure that you go through all of these articles. The next question is, consider the following statements. Statement 1. The Supreme Court of India has held in some judgments that the reservation policies made under Article 16(4) of the Constitution of India would be limited by Article 335 for maintenance of efficiency of administration. And statement 2, Article 335 of the Constitution of India defines the term efficiency of administration. So pause the video and try to answer. Let us try to understand. Okay, the first statement which says that Article 16(4) would be limited by Article 335 for maintenance of efficiency of administration. So what does Article 16(4) talk about? It provides reservation of appointments for the backward classes. And what does Article 335 talks about? It talks about the claims of the members of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes shall be taken into consideration consistent with the maintenance of efficiency of administration. So the Supreme Court in multiple judgments, especially in M. Nagaraj, of 2006 and Jarnail Singh of 2018, upheld in promotions under Article 16(4) must be balanced with Article 335. So the idea is the social justice must not compromise efficiency. So this is the basic idea behind it. So this statement is correct. statement 2. Article 335 defines the term efficiency of administration. So here you see that the Article 335 mentions the phrase efficiency of administration, but it does not define it. The Constitution leaves it open-ended and its meaning is interpreted by courts based on context. So there is no legal definition in Article 335 itself. So this is incorrect. There is a thumb of rule that most of the things are not defined in the Constitution because they are open-ended. They are left for the interpretation. So if something is explicitly mentioned, you should read about it. Okay, so this is correct and this is incorrect. Let us move on to the next question. Consider the following statements in respect of election to the President of India. The members nominated to either house of the Parliament or the legislative assemblies are also eligible to be included in the electoral college. Higher the number of elective assembly seats, higher is the value of vote of each MLA of that state. The value of vote of each MLA of Madhya Pradesh is greater than that of Kerala. The value of vote of each MLA of Puducherry is higher than that of Arunachal Pradesh because the ratio of total population to the total number of elective seats in Puducherry is greater as compared to Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so a very big question. Pause and try to answer. Let us understand the first statement. First statement is basically the election of president. Now this election of president is given in Article 54 of the Constitution, which defines the electoral college. So what does it include? It includes elected MPs and elected members of legislative assemblies. So nominated members are excluded. So they are not a part of the electoral college. So here this statement becomes incorrect because it talks about the nominated members. Okay. The second statement. Higher the number of elective assembly seats, higher is the value of vote of each MLA of that state. So for that we have to understand the value of MLA's vote. Now value of MLA's vote is given by this particular equation. Population of the state according to the 1971 census divided by total elected MLAs into 1000. So the value is calculated according to this formula. So more seats does not automatically mean higher vote value. It depends on population to MLA ratio. Because here in the statement it is given that higher the number of elective assembly seats. So by simple math logic, if you increase the denominator, your this value will be decreased. The third statement. The value of vote of each MLA of Madhya Pradesh is greater than that of Kerala. So this is very factual, but MP may value is 131 and the MLA of Kerala, their value is 152. So this is incorrect. The fourth one. The value of vote of each MLA of Puducherry is higher than that again of Arunachal Pradesh. So this is correct because in Puducherry it is 16 and that of Arunachal Pradesh it is 8. So this is correct. So your answer is only 1. Now what we have to do, we have to go beyond this because value of MLA's vote is asked. So there are high chances that value of MP's vote also would be asked. So for that the formula is total value of all votes of MLAs and divided by total number of elected MPs. So like here when I said that the value of Madhya Pradesh is 131, value of Kerala is 152, so on and so forth. For all the states and union territories, the value is added up. So that value is somewhere around this much, 5,43,231, and the total number of elected MPs is this much, okay, in both the houses. So when you do that, the division gives you this. So this number is rounded off because 700 into 776 gives 543. So this is for ease. Okay. The major point behind telling you all of this is because this can be asked again. Now, what is the number of votes required for the president to win? The voting for the president election is done through the system of single transferable vote. Yes. In this system, electors rank the candidates in order of their preferences. So the winning candidate must secure more than half of the total valid votes to win the election. This is known as the quota. Okay, so what is the quota again? Quota is total value of MP's votes plus the total value of MLA's votes divided by 2 plus 1. There is one more thing to it is significant here, is that the anti-defection law, which disallows MPs from crossing the party line, does not apply here in presidential election. So this means that the MPs and MLAs can keep their ballot secret. Okay, I hope you have understood this. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements in respect of the Constitution Day. The Constitution Day is celebrated on 26 November every year to promote constitutional values among citizens. Statement 2. On 26 November 1949, the Constituent Assembly of India set up a drafting committee under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar to prepare a draft Constitution of India. Okay, pause and try to answer. Let us try to solve it together. Okay, so the first statement is very factual and it is very straightforward. So the Constitution Day, also known as the Samvidhan Divas, okay, is celebrated in our country on 26 November every year to commemorate the adoption of Indian Constitution. So this is correct. Now, the drafting committee was set up under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar by the Constituent Assembly on August 29, 1947 to prepare a draft Constitution of India. So, on 26 November of 1949, the Constituent Assembly of India adopted the Constitution of India, which later came into effect from 26 January 1950. So the day of the commencement. The Constitution as adopted on November 26, 1949 contained a preamble, 395 articles and 8 schedules. So this is a very straightforward question, but very factual question. So I hope that you understand that sometimes you have to also be prepared for these kind of factual questions wherein you can't use really your analytical skills because it's right there in front of you. Okay. So we are done for this video. The remaining questions we will take up in the next video. I hope that you are liking this and I hope that you are going one step beyond the analysis, wherein you are also analyzing the wrong options and going just one step forward. Okay, so like, share and subscribe, share it with your friends, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.